Oh, wait, we didn't record on the... Oh, we can start that later, though.
Yeah, we're gonna start that later.
Yep. Okay, hi.
Hi, we're not even on here yet.
Oh, we're not.
There's like a loading thing. Now we're live. What is good?
Are we? Oh, okay, I guess...
Yeah,
oh, we
we're
are.
live.
Oh, 9, 10...
When it says live,
I didn't see...
we out here.
Okay. That's all the way in the corner, right there. I didn't see that, but now I see a flashing camera.
Like, oh man, where are we? What are we doing? How do we find ourselves? How do we find ourselves?
That's a whole other topic.
Just getting ready, getting some folks.
Yeah.
In the spokes.
Let's get some people in here, right?
Let's get some hoes in this house.
Right now I'm enjoying a delicious, what was it, like pineapple green tea. Nice warm pineapple green tea with some lemon curd in it.
Yeah, we have a Morphe T10X. Great for skin. No, I can't even see us. I need to see us.
Oh, I was gonna share the.
No,
I was
I'm
gonna
joking.
Share it to my...
I'm joking.
Okay. Because then I'll double share it because then it'll show up.
Yeah.
More. No nuance. Oh my god, I can't believe people were doing a no nuance November, by the way.
What the fuck does that mean? They already don't even do nuance.
I know, I'm like, you already don't fucking do
Are
it.
you
which
just
I didn't
mad
know.
because we're asking you to like think critically and you're like, no, I want this not in November.
Because I remember back in November, I didn't know, okay, so I didn't know no nuance. Like, there was a movement for that, which is stupid, because all y'all
What
are
does that even mean?
literally just no nuance, just being out here.
But that's actually a really nuanced opinion, because like nuance in itself is a nuanced concept. So it's like self-defeatist. Like, what is nuance?
I wasn't ready for this. This is not the conversation I was prepared for.
I'm not okay. I'm not okay. Oh, let me stop.
I'm really not okay. Okay. Maybe I should take off my glasses. Yeah, fuck it. I don't need to see.
I don't want to see this shit.
I'm sick of looking at you. I'm just kidding. I can see up close and I can't see far away.
Every morning I wake up and look in the mirror and I'm like, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of you.
I don't belong here. Oh, by the way, this mug is made by my friend.
Which friend?
You know what? I'm a terrible friend because I totally forgot. Is like raccoon something or another? Is there pottery thing?
I like put you in a
Erin
place.
McClarney. Yeah,
Okay.
you should not have asked
so
that.
Sorry. I was like, oh, let's promote them. Let's. I'm sorry.
Erin McClarney. Look her up on the Facebook.
On
She's
the
the one who made it,
Facebook.
but I forgot. Oh, I'm sorry.
Where is who? Oh, who's here? We have 4 people watching the live. We love you. Hi, hello.
Hi, hello. How are ya?
Hi. How are ya?
Let's take it back from Jeffree Star. Let's reclaim that greeting. He doesn't own it.
How do you own a greeting? That's like
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, Jeffree doesn't care how you are. He has a
literally
mansion.
fucking knocks down, literally beams into the ceiling and is like, I need the money. Give it to me now.
Oh my god. Well, if Jeffree Star beamed into the building, he could catch these hands.
For real.
Well, then he would sue me.
Oh, but we could get him canceled because we're like queer people of color.
Yeah, he can't be in my house.
Yeah, he can't do that.
He
You
can't, be in my
can't do
house.
that.
Jeffree, get out of my house.
You can't be in our house. We're queer people of color, and you're attacking us, and you're gonna get canceled, Jeffree Star.
I'm poorer than you, and I have better aesthetics than you.
Yeah, you're gonna get canceled for 2 whole days, and then do a live stream on. There's no such thing as cancel culture.
Cancel this for poor people.
Yeah, only poor people can get canceled. Because rich people are like, I actually did a joke Instagram apology post.
Did I see that?
Yeah, you were like, I'm nervous.
No, I was just like, oh shit, what the fuck?
We
I
were
was like,
what
god
did Liz
damn
do?
it, Liz.
Oh, the apology. It was something so stupid. It was like
You apologize for being a bad bitch.
yeah, I apologize for being a bad bitch because I was making fun of the way that like people very insincerely do some fucked up shit and then like go on Instagram and put like a screenshot from their like notes app apologizing being like I am educating myself. Like what you really mean is I am realizing that I may never financially recover from this. Please
They
forgive
do.
me
They
and give me
always
money.
do.
And then they always do. Jeffree Star is uncancelable, unfortunately, but whatever.
Really.
That's just not.
It's
This
not
is
even
not
like.
even what this topic is about.
Yeah, sorry, but I mean. Yeah. I guess maybe
What?
Jeffree Star could have something to do with toxic polyamory, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't really know enough about his life to really get into
I
it.
don't care
They
enough
would,
about his
yeah.
life to research it.
Anyways,
Anyway, wait,
so
did we start the recording aspect of the
Ooh,
audacity?
no, we did not.
Good.
Wait. Oh, there are
Good.
people in the
There
chat.
are people. Hello, people in the chat.
Read the thing.
It's a crime you've been guilty of for a while. An apology was overdue. Thank you, Ilias. It's the curse I've been unleashing onto this world by being a bad bitch. It's too much. I'm so sorry.
Hi, hello. Welcome to episode 2 of Suck This Podcast.
Loosen up your jaw as we talk about toxic polyamory culture.
Yes, indeed. And by the way, you know Nuance Hose. This is not to say that we are saying polyamory is inherently toxic.
No.
Because it's not. But people can be shitbags and change things and manipulate things. So we have to get smarter when the manipulators get smarter. Because it's kind of like how when people use mental health language to weaponize it and all this other stuff, it's like whenever it starts really being used for good, then it gets turned into evil. And we have to like be wise to it. We have to understand like these red flags that happen, that occur when these social movements happen that are ultimately for good because more people can live how they want to live and live with less stigma, but that they're ultimately going to be manipulative creatures.
Exactly. And it's
take
also
over these spaces. That's what they do.
Exactly. And I mean, to say that like polyamory, even though it's really seeing its day in the sun,
Yeah.
in the new century, I know people are gonna go on forever about how well in prior civilizations people had well, we're not talking about that. We're talking about things operate very differently now, and I think we're finally at a point in society in like the modern world where polyamory is starting to have its day in the sun, but nonetheless it's still so stigmatized. And like we're not saying this in a way of like you're making us look bad, you're making poly people look bad and you need to stop it because you're ruining the fucking poly community. Like no, aside from the like respectability politics of trying to be accepted in your neighborhood with a 3-parent household or something, like we're really talking about the ways that people sort of just kind of use polyamory when they like fail at monogamy. And I'm like, if you take your toxic monogamy shit and you're like, oh, I'm gonna do polyamory now, that doesn't, and you didn't address any of the shit that occurred in the toxic monogamy that you were a part of, you're just gonna bring that shit into polyamory.
Correct.
Like people, like I've made the joke so many times, like, oh my gosh, bitch, how are you poly and you're cheating? Like you're literally allowed. But there are people who still sneak around, people who still don't really listen to their partner's boundaries, people who some if you gaslight people in your monogamous relationships, you're going to bring that into polyamory and now you're gaslighting multiple people.
But then if you're someone who's gaslighting on a normal basis, you probably don't generally care about people in general. It's just that, so for instance, like this is a whole other topic that could be another podcast, but for instance, I don't necessarily want kink to be common culture.
Yeah.
Because a kink, that's what a kink is, right? It's a break off from normal culture. And also a lot of things about our normal culture.
And not to say that polyamory is a kink.
Yeah, no, that's not what I'm saying at
Yeah,
all.
but continue, please.
Because for the no nuanced hoes out there who and some shit, I feel like it's gonna fight with people.
You're like, I'm gonna fight. I've been practicing for this.
Training every day. Except they won't open the fucking gym for me. They ain't ready. They ain't ready for me.
You're
I
not
come in
ready.
there with all that like toxic male rage. So oh my god. Trash Panda. Oh, okay. Trash Panda. Say it, crockery.
Crockery. We
Okay.
were like,
I was like, I
that's
don't
where
want
the
to
mug
go.
is from.
Yes,
The
Trash
mug is
Panda.
from Trash Panda Crockery. Maybe we can get a link later and put that in there. That is the friend who made the mug that we were speaking about earlier. But anyway,
Yeah.
back to the topic at hand. Like, it's very interesting. I guess a good segue into this is aside from being involved in polyamory, I think I would just want to open it up by talking about my obsession as I've transitioned into Wine Auntie, which is the Bachelor franchise. And people are like, what the fuck does the Bachelor have to do with polyamory? That makes no sense, Liz.
Because it's the way it's being brought into the public lexicon.
It's like, what are you exactly? It's like, what are you saying? This is the most like Christian bullshit nonsense fuckery. Fall in love, get married, have kids after 2 months of knowing each other. What are you saying? No, but it's literally a show where you have a person who is dating 30 people, usually at the start, going on several dates with them while the 30 people are living in a house with each other. And although this isn't the ideal setup of polyamory, like normally you don't want to keep eliminating your partners every week until you get down to one.
Right.
But this does bring up a lot when it comes to the way we treat others, the way we treat our partners, the behavior we have. Because I'm like, these people, especially when you think about the women who stay in this house together, they're living together for like 2 months straight. They spend more time with each other than they do with the person they're dating, and they all still end up leaving the show as friends. A lot of them, but think of them.
So they're technically all metamors.
Yeah.
At a certain point.
Yeah, and it's like these are
a metamor, by the way, for because not everybody knows. A metamor is like you and another person are dating the same person, but you're not dating each other. It's just like, oh, like back in the day, we would call that Eskimo brothers. You know, it's like you fucked the same person. But this is referring to dating and maybe fucking the same person, but you're not involved with each other, but you share a person. That's a metamor. Anyways.
Yeah, and it's really interesting when you see how people treat each other. When you see how people treat each other when they're dating the same person, or how they approach things. Because if you're dating 2 people, 3 people, however many, like conflicts can happen. Not just because polyamory is filled with conflict. If you put any amount of people in a room and they have to have some sort of relation to each other, they're gonna get in some sort of conflict at some point.
It's like a pure math. It's a pure math thing. It's like high risk, high reward, because it's like there are more people, there are more ideologies, there are more, like differing beliefs, there are more like ways of raising a child, more ways of, conducting a public relationship. How you like who's going to be the public facing partner if there can only be one, right? So it's like it's also like a matter of when we're talking about toxic poly culture, we're also talking about people bringing toxic monogamy into polyamory. And so the reason why I say to wrap up that point I was making about the reason I don't want kink to become like, it's not because I'm like being a hipster of like, oh, I don't want BDSM and kink to like be the mainstream. It's because what I like a lot of mainstream things, but what the mainstream does with a lot of things is it simplifies it down. Again, has this no nuance perspective. And the way that a lot of hookup culture works does not have consent, does not, and it's like, it's become normal for people to just choke other people out, like, in the middle of making out, and, like, that's assault. Like, you can't do that without a
Yes.
conversation. You can't say, like, it's like, if you don't know that the other person is into it, you can't just slap them across the face or spit on them or choke them on the, like, first date or whatever.
And that's
It's like,
something you have to discuss, even if you're like, oh,
yeah,
she's always posting about getting choked.
that
Like,
doesn't
that
mean you can
doesn't
suddenly choke a person.
exactly. And it's also a thing you have to be prepared for.
Yeah. So
You
that's
don't want to
that's
just
what
like
I'm
out of nowhere.
exactly. That's where I'm coming from with it. It's not like a gatekeepers club type situation. It's literally just it's a safety thing for me, and so that's while I do want polyamory to be a part of the normalized culture, because polyamory, again, not kink,
Mm-hmm.
and it should be another way that people can choose to live their lives and etc. There are a lot of things that the mainstream and toxic monogamy culture is going to leak into polyamory that's going to create a new harmful kind of have to be aware of, right?
Yeah.
So you're saying all these so the way a lot of normal everyday people, housewives and stuff like that, kind of get exposed to these ideas even is stuff like The Bachelor.
Yeah, and it's like you watch the show and you get to see a lot about what it's like for more than one person to be dating the same person. And so many of these women are like, when I'm with him, or so many of these guys, because there's the Bachelorette. So many of the contestants on the show are like, when I'm with them, I feel special, I feel seen, and we have this unique relationship, and like I just feel like, it's gonna be us in the end. And then they break up and get sent home, and they're like, I don't understand. And we're all like,
Mm-hmm.
girl, couldn't you like feeling way stronger about Raven or Rachel I or
Yeah.
Kathy Z? And it's like, no. And that's like a thing with polyamory. Like, there are gonna be relationships that you have with some partners where to other people they just don't think it looks as well as the relationship you have with other people, and you have like your other partners. And sometimes you really need to think about how you're making individual relationships with people. And I think, although The Bachelor doesn't do a good job at displaying it because you can only show so much in a runtime, it
Mm-hmm.
really does speak as a testament to how people can have deeply personal and sincere relationships with more than one person.
Mm-hmm.
And different people can bring out different sides of you, and you feel seen in different ways by different people.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like as polyamory makes its way to the mainstream, people are thinking about it more as like, I can fuck so many people now. It's like the Pokemon approach of like,
Yeah,
gotta catch 'em all. Like,
and it's like yes and no. Like it's not.
yeah,
It's a common misconception.
it's nuance.
Yes, correct.
You need nuance in this
Yes.
situation. There are also people who are like,
On
well,
Suck This Podcast, we gonna force nuance down these people's throats.
yeah, yeah,
Which
you
is
like that?
antithetical to nuance.
You like that? You like that fucking nuance? You little critical thinker?
How
You
does
like
it
that?
taste?
How does that nuance taste?
Sorry.
I don't.
I'm sorry. I'm reeling it back. Reeling it back. I'm
You
sorry.
gotta stop.
Anyways.
But yes, I looked and I was like, oh, now we have 6 viewers after we
Oh.
did that. It says 2 on 3. Ooh.
Oh. Oh.
I'm confused. Anyway, I think.
Looking at the viewer count did nothing for nobody ever. So.
No. But no, like, I think that. The Bachelor really displays, like, it is possible. So many people are like, there's no way, you like more than one person, or you love more than one person, or like, which partner do you like more? And it's
So
like,
that is something, and that's like a very like monogamous upbringing type way
mm-hmm.
to approach it and look at it. How the Suck This Podcast got its name at minute 18.
Just the tip.
Fuck off.
Sorry, we're just reading the comments.
Yeah, because we live right now. Um, We live in.
We live in. And live in color.
That
There's a
comment,
lot of titty bounce. I'm so sorry.
never apologize for titty bounce. Expand our views. Expand the titty.
Give me tips! Okay.
So it's a very, so I've had that asked at me. It's a very, like, growing up with compulsive like monogamy culture, like to where my coworker back when I worked at the sex shop was like, okay, but like which partner do you like more? And it was just like a really fucked up thing to be asked on a regular basis. Like every week she would ask, she'd be like, okay, but like still, like, which one do you like to be around? Like, which one do you like more? I'm like, they're different people. It's two different experiences.
It's like, I like them for different reasons. What do you
Like,
say?
if I liked one that much more, like, wouldn't I just like be monogamous, or wouldn't I just like
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like, you're
that's
defeating
why
the
she
purpose.
that's why she couldn't wrap her head around it, is because she couldn't think of anything outside of monogamy, and was like, okay, but like make it make sense. And it's like, well, it's weird to, I guess, compare children to this situation. It's kind of like going up to a parent and being like, okay, but really though, like which one do you like? Which one, like, you like one more, right? You like.
Yeah.
Which,
You know,
like, which one would you save in a fire? Be honest. Like,
no, but it's like, it's the same thing with, like, it's the same thing with friends.
we thought we just
Yeah, it's the same thing with friends. People are like, how can you say you have more than one best friend? And I'm like,
because
I just do. And like,
Yes!
my friends are very different. Like, you and Ari are absolutely nothing alike, but you're both two really good friends that I have. Like, my friendship with, I've been best friends with Courtney since high school. I've known Maja since elementary school. I've known Jack since school. And like, I've known Lily since high school. But like, all of these friendships are like kind of separate, not because I'm like, I don't want them to meet and then get together
It's
and then not
like,
love me anymore. But it's just,
keep in mind, we're also in a Panera Bread.
we
also
are in a Panama.
We are also
Anderson.
in the middle of a pepperoni.
We're in a lot of things.
So
my brain just.
I also
farted.
probably can't like meet them anyways right now.
But it's also like, I have a lot of friends that just have never met each other.
Yeah, whatever.
You know, despite the parabola. You know, even before the Pythagorean theorem. I
wasn't ready.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
even without the Peter Piper pick the pecker peppers, I was never good at tongue twisters. I have a bad accent, and I'm trying my hardest for the accent not to come out right now, so I trip on my words. Whatever. Suck this podcast. I don't give a shit.
Can this be dulled? I feel like it's blowing us out, and not in the fun way. So much better. Okay, thank you.
We're messing with the ring light.
Okay.
Yeah, but like, you know, sometimes my friends get together and it's like, oh yeah, it's great. But I also have friendships that are like, just so happen to be separate, not out of like, I don't ever want them to meet. It's just, that's kind of how life happens, especially as an adult. Getting like a bunch of people together in the same room, just like,
really fucking hard.
It's very hard, and it's not like, oh my god, I live better because I'm doing a podcast with them, so that means they're better than the other friend. Like, that doesn't.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that Liz doesn't like conversations with their other friends.
Exactly.
It's like, well, you know, it's like, you know, some people don't like their conversations and innermost personal thoughts being broadcast to a bunch of people. We're just two very oversharing type bitches.
Yeah, and like, even my friends who do like to like share a bunch, we live 12 minutes away from each other, so it is super easy for us to be like, you wanna I've literally come over at like 1:00 in the morning to hop on like your Twitch lives.
Yeah, I was like live on Twitch, and then like Liz will just be saying a bunch of funny shit while I'm live on Twitch, and I was just like, just fucking come over here.
You know, I can do that. Just fucking come over in my pajamas at like
1 a.m. while I'm playing a terrifying video game.
and just making it not terrifying, because I can't.
By shit posting.
I can't take things seriously, because life is hard enough.
And that's on trauma response, baby. And that's on therapy interfering behaviors, hunty.
That's the
I didn't even mean to do it at the same time. I was just literally hydrating.
yeah. So I think it's same with partners. It's like when I had multiple, really think about them in terms of like, this is my favorite one, this is the one I like more, and we would hang out together, but there was a point when I was like, I kind of want to hang out with them like separately,
Yeah.
so I can be able to like
Quality
fully
time.
give my attention to
Yeah,
each one of them.
intimacy and quality time is the thing. Yeah.
But I think where the toxicity came in there was when your partners don't like each other at all. At all. And The Bachelor really shows that. You know, they have these, like, of course,
That's a bunch of partners that don't like each other.
There's a bunch of partners that don't like each other, especially this season where there was kind of like, they're like, let's shake things up. So, like, 3 or 4 weeks in, they added like 5 more girls to the house out of
That sounds exhausting.
nowhere. I don't know what real world rolled ruse challenge type.
I think even the
shit
Bachelor
was-
was like exhausted by this.
They were like, he was like, I'm gonna cry. I think he did cry at some point. It was just too much.
Oh my
Because
god.
you just have like, you have these people you're developing connections with, and then
Right.
suddenly 5 more people come in, and you're like, okay, now I gotta like start over. I already eliminated a bunch of people who I
Yeah.
thought were cool, but now who are these random girls?
Yeah.
And it's like you have Anna, who gets so incredibly threatened by this girl. Anna's from Chicago, and this girl Brittany is also from Chicago.
I'm the one that's from Chicago.
I feel like that's what it was. I think she interrupted her at some point, and she was like, I heard rumors about her, and I'm like, oh my god. Chicago and people talk. I don't know why she's talking about Chicago as if it is
like Pearl River.
I was about to say like Pearl River, Louisiana, fucking Booty, Louisiana. I don't know why she thought this was in a parish or something.
Yeah,
where she was
what?
like, it's Chicago. Chicago is a small town. First of all, Chicago's not a town. It's a city with millions of people. It's a very large city. And she's like, I've like gotten messages and heard that Brittany, you know, she works in nightlife, and that she basically called her a sex worker, which there's nothing wrong with sex work. Sex work is real work. We support sex work here, okay?
So
that's it.
So she's making money.
The
and
girl
she ended
doesn't
up
do
on a
sex
TV show?
work
Yeah.
at all. She
Okay.
doesn't.
Okay.
This girl just starts this rumor.
Okay.
Anna says that, oh, Brittany's a sex worker, and this spreads around the house. They're all talking shit. It's basically stuff to turn, you know, the Bachelor against her, turn other people in the house against her. You have people in the house who are just bullying each other. And it's like they're all dating the same person, and it's like they're saying all this fucked up shit about someone who's also dating their partner.
So you were seeing this happen on like a grand scale.
Mm-hmm. But I've also...
You know, you were seeing this happen on a grand scale on the TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Housewives at Home are also seeing this happen. And you were seeing it happen in a smaller scale in your own life.
Yeah.
Because your partners didn't like each other.
Yeah, my partners didn't like each other, and it just... And the thing was, like, they knew each other before I knew them. So they had, like, this whole... Like, this whole, like, history or whatever, and just
But it was also weird because they pretended they, like, were like, we're friends.
Yeah.
Frenemies!
We're frenemies!
Frenemies podcast. What's up?
Yeah, having partners who are frenemies, and then you get, like, separated, and they're like, I don't like them. They're
I don't like
this,
that
they're
hoe.
that. I don't like that hoe. You know, they used to do this. They're just weird. They're just such a fucking creep. I don't know. And then, like, it was really weird because it's like when I ended up breaking up with one of the partners, not because in some Bachelor-esque thing of like I found the one, it's just that relationship wasn't
Was not it.
It was not it. It was just not optimal for me anymore.
Not optimal in your healing space.
It's not optimal in my It literally wasn't. It caused me to have to create another healing space because of the toxic polyamory. Full circle.
So okay.
But like,
What do you mean when you say toxic polyamory? What elements come to
Like-
mind immediately? Like
immediately lying. Like lying about where you are when there's no reason for you to lie. So you have another partner, but that started from a place of not telling me that they had another partner.
So that's another thing is when people are new to polyamory, these manipulative people will use elements of toxic monogamy that exist in our culture already. So we already feel this compulsion to fall in line with it or to agree with it kind of thing, and to it's like a peer pressure thing. It's all
Yeah.
you feel like pushed into like being not a problem, right? You want to get along with the crowd. You want to not be the one who's like making things difficult for everyone.
Yeah.
So
You don't
they
want to bring your toxic monogamy in there.
right, and well then they're weaponizing that against you and being like, well, that's not very poly of you. You know, like it's like, oh, me getting a new partner without even telling you, and you finding out via
Exactly. Because like that
via Facebook status or
exactly
a
because
comment.
it's like we talked about it because like that was the situation that they were like, look, I don't like to not know what's going on in the other end with people and if they're seeing someone else or whatever. And so I was like, okay, that makes sense. I agree.
So kind of like, but did this person like knowing the other people you're involved with and like socializing and seeing them?
Yeah, like that's what they wanted. They
So
were like,
they were like kitchen table poly. So that's a term too. Is like
yeah.
where together at the kitchen table together and like talk and socialize and like be friends.
Yeah. Which is like what we ended up doing.
And then there's don't ask, don't tell, which is another aspect, but
which I'm not a fan of, and that was a thing.
I'm not a
If
fan
that's
of
your
either.
thing, if that's your mix, if that's your cocktail, I'm not gonna tell you to stop drinking. But like we had already.
That's not the Kool-Aid I'm drinking.
Yeah,
That's
like
not, yeah.
that's just not my drink. That's not my double shot of whiskey on the rocks. So like we had already talked about like, okay, well, if there's somebody else, like if you get another partner, tell me.
Mm-hmm.
They got another partner. They didn't tell me. I was like suspicious. I was like, okay, I think this person might be their partner now. Like I know they said it was just casual. They weren't even that interested in them, and then it turned into like, oh, we've just been hanging out as friends. And then
and you had no reason to disbelieve because
yeah.
you're not a distrustful partner.
Exactly. So
it's not your mistake for trusting and loving someone that you're with.
Yeah.
It's their fault for being a trustworthy bastard.
And so it was just like, so when they were posting something and it insinuated like that was their partner, and I was like, I'm just gonna ask them. Like I'm not gonna be like a weirdo. Like I wasn't like searching through. Ooh. Trouble playing this video. It says in live video.
Why would I want to do that?
I don't know. They're not playing this video.
My
fucking ex hacked our page and turned it off. No, it still says that we're live.
I flew.
We just can't see each other. I'm like looking at us. That's
okay.
Weird. That's weird. Do we want it in live? Do we want to?
No. Let's just keep going because if it's still going, it should be fine, right?
Where are we even in here? Okay.
Okay. It's still going.
It's still going.
We just don't see.
We just
whatever.
Boom. There we go. So basically, like I approached them about it because I'm not like let me see your phone or like let me search through your paycheck or like just not me. And so I was like,
no, just like
hey.
be honest. Like,
exactly. I was like, hey, so it seems like, your partner now. Like, what's going on? And they were like, yeah, like for about, and they were like, yeah, and I was like, oh, that's cool. For how, like, since when? And they were like, for about a week, and I was like,
so when was you gonna tell me?
I'm like, okay, which was like such a thing because it's like I ended up getting like a second partner, when I was already dating this person, and it just kind of like I'd already had like a relationship type situation going on with a person. I wasn't expecting them to ask me to be their partner. It just sort of happened, and I was like, okay, I can jive with this. And it's like when you're polyamorous, you can have that opportunity to be like, I can have more than one partner. So I was like, cool, but I also had to be like, okay, how am I gonna tell my partner that I now have another partner? So I was like planning like, okay, like I'm gonna do something special for them, like maybe like get them flowers and show them, like even though like I'm also seeing this other person, I have this other partner, I'm not just doing this as like they're the shiny and new one and partner, and so I don't really care about you as
And
much anymore.
that's typically referred to in the poly community as NRE, new relationship energy.
Mhm.
So it's like a typical, because you're like literally getting a rush of new chemicals in your brain.
Exactly.
And so there literally is a different energy happening. And so it can kind of seem like this person is more enamored with the new person, but it's simply the fact that they're new and novel. I'm not saying that they're not special,
Yeah.
but NRE happens, and you kind of have to be aware of that and be cognizant of it and be responsible about it and make sure you don't make your existing partners feel like shit.
Yeah, and it was like, okay, like how do I tell them in a way that doesn't give that sort of energy or sort of figuring that out. Oh, they just sort of threw online that they're also with like another partner.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, okay, I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it. It was fine, and like I like really like tried my best to be like, okay, let me be like welcoming of this person, just have like a welcoming environment, and I'm not interested in their other partner, but I'm like, you're dating my partner, so I want to have
A good, yeah,
a good relationship.
yeah, good working relationship.
Yeah, like I don't want it to be awkward of like, I fucking hate you.
Yeah.
Like I just
Yeah.
that's not the space that I want.
Yeah.
So like trying hard
If you
to
can
like
have a positive relationship with everybody you're involved with and the people that are involved with that you're with, that's just better.
exactly.
It just makes sense. Like
It's just
not rocket surgery.
but yeah, and it's I mean like that's where I was going with it, and but it was just like, but on like the opposite end, like having a partner who just really didn't like my partner, it was like this a lot.
Yeah, because
And
there was a lot of like subtle, not jabs, like shit talking that was happening, and
yeah,
boundaries weren't really getting established about that kind of stuff and being, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it kind of got like carried away, I guess.
mm-hmm.
Would you say?
Yeah, it really did get carried away because it puts you in an awkward position because it's like I don't want to spend all of my time with you talking about my other partner, but also not that it's like off limits to talk about, but it's just like, I don't want to spend the whole time with
It's
you
about
doing
us.
that. Like it's about us, but it's also like, okay, if you want to talk about that because you're having an issue, like okay, like if you need to talk about something, we need to talk about it. But it's also just like you're just having a shit session on them, and I'm like, okay, I get that you don't like them.
But then when you even tried to acknowledge, like, okay, I understand you don't like this person, then it was seen as like, you're telling me I don't, you know what I mean? They were like, oh, I didn't say that.
Yeah,
is that what it became, or am I misinterpreting?
It was like sometimes it would like be a little bit like gaslighting for a bit of like, no, I would never say anything bad or negative. Like I'm just like a veteran like polyamorous person, and
looks into the camera like it's the office.
And then like go back to being like, I just don't trust them. I just don't really.
I know people who are listening didn't see what I just did, but I definitely just looked into the webcam like it was the office. And I don't even like that show, but that's the one good thing they got going on.
I know, right?
I jive with that one bit.
No, but like, and it's just like a weird thing. But then like, also finding out that my like other partner didn't take the relationship I had with like the initial partner seriously, and finding that out was like,
which I feel like was like low key sexist.
I'm like, that is sexist and like queerphobic.
I was about to say that's queerphobic in a bit, because it's like, oh, like
Fucking
like
straight cis men.
like women loving women relationships, like that's imaginary. Like,
Exactly.
whoa, what the fuck?
I'm like, what? And then, like, the weird thing on top of all of that is, like,
It's like, oh, I'm the man. Clearly, I am wanted. Moreover, they were
exactly,
both
and I'm
bringing
like,
some toxic ideas
yeah, and I'm like,
into your fucking healing space,
yeah, and I'm like,
and
this shit
that's
is
not
just a lot right now. Because then it was
not
also, like,
optimum.
optimum. And it was, like, on
Yeah.
top of that, like, I also had a connection with someone who was a, not was, someone who's non binary,
Mm-hmm.
um, and like they didn't end up becoming my partner, but this was someone who I was like very interested in, had feelings for before I even started anything with these two partners, and we were having connection,
Mm-hmm.
and I really liked them and I really related to them,
Right.
but like the timing, just like they were out doing a bunch of shit,
Okay.
busy doing life stuff,
Okay.
but and I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit here in a polyamorous relationship, add in like a third partner, and then like be in like a long distance polyamorous. I'm like, it's a lot.
May I vocab again?
Yes.
So you were worried about becoming polysaturated. I'm so sorry. Right? Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm being so corny right now. But listen, for those at home, for those listening, uh, polysaturated uh, means when you feel oversaturated with too many partners. I can't look you in your eyes right now because I want to laugh. Okay. So polysaturated is kind of what it sounds like, right? You just become oversaturated with multiple relationships and you can get overwhelmed easily.
Yeah.
So you have to be sure to be responsible and mindful about creating new connections
Exactly.
and establishing what kind of relationship it is, how much energy and time is going to be invested into it.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I just
no, like no, like it's educational. Like you gotta say it. Like I'm not mad.
You can suck this podcast, but you also gonna learn today.
Yeah, you don't suck this knowledge. Suck my knowledge.
Right there.
Yeah, right there. See that? See that knowledge? Slurp that. We have to be stopped. No, we
Absolutely
don't.
not. That's
we
why.
don't.
That's why we called it this.
We don't have to be stopped. But like I said, and this is not to be like I had shitty partners. Like I also need to address my own toxicity in this.
Mm-hmm.
This was something like I kind of like. I had always sort of been poly. Like I always knew I was able to have connections with like multiple people.
Okay.
And it's like being around my sister who was we have a 13-year age gap. So like my
hold on. Is your sister okay with you saying this?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm just want to make sure we didn't have to cut anything out of the podcast.
No, I'm not saying my sister is polyamorous. I'm saying that my sister she was going to Tulane in this like very like liberal space, and she always had like interest in sex ed and like sex studies and sex culture.
Yeah.
She was very interested in like sexology.
Me too.
And so growing up with like super duper religious parents who were very traditional monogamist and like traditional everything. Yeah. Who like my mom married her first boyfriend, like her first and only boyfriend.
That's embarrassing. I'm kidding. Please don't be mad at me. I know some people who did that and they're wonderful. Okay, don't get it.
I promise you, my mom is never listening to this podcast.
No, I know, but I'm just saying for like other people, it's like this does not mean you're.
No,
I'm just. Sometimes I like to clown on your mom. I'm sorry.
I clown on my mom too. I love my mom. She's a funny person. No, but so it's like I had that example, and then I had my sister's example of just like openly talking about these things. So I always like kind of knew stuff. Like I had like this awareness of like these things exist, and so
you had a more open it was presented to you as like this is a way to like this is another option of a way to live life. It wasn't like something to where, well, shit, I didn't even know that was an option.
Yeah.
Type thing. Whereas, yeah.
So it's like when you have like this older sibling who's like being like, yeah, this is a thing people do. Like people do this, people
normalizing it.
Yeah, just really normalizing it. And so I kind of like always knew, and I would like have these like conflicts where like I would get this. I'm so sorry about that. That's my alarm for work. I would get this like I would have somebody who I was interested in, but I would also be interested in someone else like later on, but like the interest for the other person like wouldn't stop.
Yeah.
And like I was, from my mother, I'm being told, well, if you're interested in somebody else, that means you're not interested in the other person anymore. And I'm like, but I still like them.
I grew up being actually serial monogamous. Like, actually. Like, to the point where whenever I was with that person, I was asexual for everyone else. And I'm not even talking, like, not on purpose. Like, it just, I literally did not feel sexual arousal for other beings.
Yeah. And I mean, like, that's how my mom told me it was supposed to be.
Well, I was more monogamous than actual monogamous people. And now, here I am.
Here you are. Yeah, and it's like, it's so odd.
Being a whore. Sorry, I just love saying.
I love it. Being a whore.
Being a whore.
There's some whores in this house.
Get out.
Get out of my whore house. Okay, I'm sorry.
Figured out.
Figured out.
Sorry.
Letterkenny.
We're playing too much.
We're doing too much.
Okay.
No, but we're fun. God damn it. Shit. But no. And I think like I had to address like, okay, what am I doing here? What am I doing here? Doing this poly shit? Like, what's going on? Am I serious? Am I really gonna be like, hey, family?
Right.
Here's my partner. Am I really gonna do that? Am I putting people in a position where they're gonna get hurt? Am I like what the fuck am I doing? I need to address this shit.
My parents are like super seniors, and they were so chill with me having two partners. They were both like, "Does everybody know?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Is everybody happy?" I was like, "Yeah." And then they were like, "Okay."
Yeah,
they were like, "Can they help you move?" And I was like, "Yes." It's like, oh, okay, extra hands, good.
And my parents will fucking never. But like my friends and
now
like
for my transition, that's a whole other. Anyways, carry on, as you were.
Love you. No, like I like my friends and like my sister and everything. Like when I told them, they were like, "Do they know?" I'm like, "Yeah, they know." They're like, but do they know? I'm like, they know. They know each other. Like we. And then of course the next question is, so do y'all like all like?
It becomes a porn thing because unfortunately
like,
a lot of our sex and relationship ideas come from porn because we don't be talking about shit a lot, like.
Exactly, and I'm like,
yeah.
Like, that's not what it is. And then like having to like explain to people, like, first of all, I'm not interested in thruppling. Not to shit on people who thruple. That's not what I want. And I would always get like very defensive when people would insinuate that that's what it was. I'm like, that is not what it is. Like, they're not with each other. I'm with this person and I'm with that person. They are not with each other. Okay. But so it was like interesting because then people started asking me questions because they're like, I want to do it, and I'm like, okay, I feel like you're like asking me this so you can be like, I just want to fuck multiple people, and I'm like, this is not what this is about.
Yeah.
This is not what this is
about. You
can
just be single.
Yeah, I'm like, you just be single. You can have an open relationship. You can
also solo poly.
Yeah, you can be solo poly.
That's a whole other topic.
And it's just really quite interesting. I'm like losing my train of thought. Like, it's just how like addressing my own toxicity in this. And like, where am I coming from with this? And I'm like, I was leaving like a few months before like I started seeing like both of my partners and talking to, because I was talking to other people while I had these partners as well.
Yeah.
um, which sort of got uncomfortable because it's like the first partner that I had, I would use names, but like anonymity is important to me. So I'm just gonna say the first partner. I'm just talking about them chronologically, not in a rating. Um,
Yeah.
the first partner that I had, when I would talk about other people I was interested in, like they would get like really defensive. They didn't really like them. They had a problem, even if they didn't know them. They'd just be like they have like a weird vibe to me. They have like a bad vibe to me, and I'm like,
Meanwhile, I was treated like I was being unreasonable when I was like, "Hey, so this person like actively brags about like being a quote unquote homewrecker and stuff like that, and maybe that's not what poly is, and like was like the mistress, aka the other woman in the situation with like one of my best friends. Like maybe
yeah,
don't date this person, but also I can't control who you date, but also like I'm out. Like
yeah,
if you
because
do
it was
like
just like a, because
like
God forbid I ever talk about the weird vibes that their partner gave me. That was not allowed. Even if I
I
weren't
wish I
talking,
could say God.
even if I wasn't talking about their partner, they thought I was talking shit about their other partner.
A former, can I say a former part,
Yeah, if you
a
want to.
former, which who happened to be a former partner of mine that I'm not on good terms with
Yeah. Um,
for reasons.
it's just ironic that we end up connected in this little polysphere and started a podcast with each other. But
New Orleans,
New Orleans
everybody.
is small as
Everybody
shit.
has fucked everybody, and also this previous partner may have fucked over a lot of people.
It's really interesting when you like
You were
meet
talking about
someone.
this non-binary person. So where did that tie in to everything? You were saying far. So you were
Oh,
trying
I
to.
was interested in them as well, and like
Yeah.
talking to them and like developing like an intimate level of exchange with them,
Yeah.
and like
And you were concerned about becoming polysaturated.
yeah, becoming polysaturated with this. And I was like, okay, I already have two partners, and then if I have like another partner, because I really 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 liked them, like I
Okay.
really liked them, but it's like, how do I, like, can I really give myself to this person in a way that's like satisfying when I'm already like dating two other people and they're long distance. Long distance is hard enough. I've done long distance
Yeah.
for like almost 2 years, and that is very difficult.
Yeah.
And so I'm like,
I'm like a
shit.
long distance veteran.
Yeah, like I don't like doing it.
Yeah.
I don't like long distance, but like I just felt like I would be a shitty partner to them, and I was like,
I'm a words of affirmation person, so I low key kind of like long distance because I get what I want. Is that bad of me to say? Like, is that terrible?
no, because I'm like, you're like, this is a thing that works for me.
I mean, like, it's kind of painful if the person, if you start being close and then you move away, that's tragic. But if you're already away and you be missing each other, it's still a little tragic. But like, there's a weird romanticism into it, and they have to talk to you. But that's a whole. We can make another
Yeah,
thing
that's
about
low
that.
key so Victorian of you. I love it.
I know. I'm a little bit more classic than people give me credit for. I know I may look like a little mango parrot. Just a little lightning pony. uh, but I'm a little more classic than people give me credit for. I'm sorry.
So I was like, shit, am I in this
Yeah.
sphere of like gotta catch 'em all? Am I just trying to collect every partner because it's like I can? I'm like addressing
Well,
like what
yeah.
what am I doing? Like, am I able to like
I guess you were concerned also because you've had issues in the past with like manic behavior, right? So you were worried. I'm like, oh, is this like a man? Was that
yeah.
a concern for you?
Yeah, it was because like I think my mania and like monogamy don't go well for me.
Yeah.
That is not to say all people who have manic depression or bipolar disorder are cheaters, and it's not to say I necessarily cheated on anybody.
For
But
you, no
like,
nuance hoes
for
out
you
there.
know nuance hoes. But
That's
like,
gonna be a T-shirt.
we gonna put that in the shop. We don't have a shop yet, but we will have a shop, and then
Oh,
that will be
absolutely.
in the shop. But yeah, like it was a difficulty for me, and it was like I like right before I like entered into like a true polyamorous relationship. um I was just getting out of a very like a year long monogamous relationship, one where we were like talking about planning an engagement, and they were like saving up for an engagement ring, and it was a very like it was a monogamous traditional relationship.
Right.
And there was a moment in that relationship where I went to a conference and I met this person, and it's very rare that like I meet
Yeah, look, you look like you're like, hold up now.
like
Just the look you're
I'm
giving me.
like, let me bring it back because I'm
Carry
like,
on. Yeah.
I still think about them. I met this person at this conference, and I was
Okay.
just like
Sparks are
totally
flying.
like
Right.
taken aback, and I was
Mm-hmm.
like, it's the everything for me.
Yeah.
Um, and it's not like I'm not going to show you a picture because that's batshit. But if I did, you would be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like this is not a person who everybody would be like, risk it all. I
Yeah.
would fucking risk it all. Like
Yeah. No.
this is no Jason Momoa or whoever the fuck else people thirst after.
Yeah.
No shade to this individual, but I'm like, it was just something about this person, and
Mm-hmm.
then that just was like it was everything, and it just kept feeling like everything was lining up, like
Mm-hmm.
everything was lining up for me to speak to them. Like
Was that the mania? Do you think, or was?
I'm still trying to figure out, was it the mania or was it like, what is it?
Yeah.
What's going on? And so I was like, the likelihood of me ever speaking to this person is like, whatever. I passed them at an airport, and I was like, hey, cool, fine.
Oh my God! It was just passing at an airport.
But this is what happened. We ended up on the same flight.
So you were on misconnections on Craigslist, typing out a.
Oh, no, 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 no. We ended up on the same flight.
Okay.
And I was like, okay.
Okay.
But then I was like, the likelihood of them going to the same exact conference as me, crazy.
Whack.
We were going to the same exact conference. And I was like,
Okay.
holy shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? We were on the same exact bus ride to the conference.
Okay.
Then we got to the conference,
Viewers,
and I was like,
listeners, take note.
I know.
Just be in the same place at the same time,
we
and
really,
you got it made in the shade for.
I was like, what the fuck is
for
this shit?
Liz.
Um,
I'm sorry, I'm being terrible.
but no, this is absurd, and I need to be made fun of for it. But like literally,
I'll only do it a little bit. I also have a question for you. I'm just putting a pin in it right now.
okay, cool.
I have a
So,
finger up, so I remember.
so I was like, okay, we're at the same conference, but there's like 10,000 people at this conference. Like we ended up hanging out in the same group, and then we like we ended up hanging out like every night of the conference, like in a group,
Behaving
I
like a
was
good
being Christian monogamy girl, monogamous, and then an enemy.
Those are words that may or may not describe you.
I love Jesus.
The jury is out on several of those terms you just threw out.
Jesus loves the little children, and I am little and childish.
Oh my God! Wait, that's a Twitter. That's
a Twitter.
That's a Twitter quote. That's a Twitter quote. We gotta put that. Follow us.
Follow us on
Suck This Podcast
on everything. No, but like,
so okay, so you met this person, and you just kept being in the same spot. You kept seeing them. You became enamored.
we were just circling,
vibing.
We were just circling, and we ended up going to where was that? Oh, so like one of the nights I like went out to go meet my cousin because she also just happens to live in the same town.
So what people probably want to know is, did you cheat or no?
Okay, so this is where the nuance comes in. So I very drunk, and so we're at the bar, and like I'm dancing because I'm very drunk, and they start dancing with me, and then we end up dancing on each other, and some of the monogamists are like, no,
yeah,
no, that's a cheat,
yeah,
you had a dick upon thine ass.
Oh.
grinding,
Uh-oh.
wrong and bad.
Oh.
But then I was like, I really wanted them to touch me, so. But I didn't think they were gonna do that. Just in my brain, I was like, I just really want them to touch me. Like I know they're
Uh-huh.
like I know it's probably bad, but I just really want them to touch me. But I was like, there's
Okay.
no way, there's
Okay.
no way. And then we ended up dancing on each other, and I was like, oh, the level of chaos. Me and my fucking chaos magic, accidental chaos magic. Anyway, that's another story.
You gotta be careful with that shit, but go on.
I gotta stop having wants. Cause every time I have a want, I fucking get it. Um,
Listen, we can talk later.
But I'm like so intoxicated off of like this feeling of this person. Like you ever just get like high off of an individual? I don't get
No,
high
I
off
don't
of it.
have mania, so
I
no.
was like, bruh, I'm vibrating from your energy. Manic out of my fucking mind, probably,
Yeah, I was
and
just
also
saying.
drunk.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't understand that feeling. I
And
really
then I
like the
was like,
person.
I don't want to be responsible right now, so I'm gonna play up how drunk I am, so I
Uh-huh.
don't have to take responsibility for anything. And
That your actions
have consequences. I'm like, I don't want to take responsibility
I
for
blew
anything.
the levels in the mic. It's over.
I'm sorry.
But continue. It's my fault.
But I'm just like, okay, Liz, you you gotta stop.
Okay.
I was like, you gotta
So
stop.
is that where this fear of like is this mania comes from? Was this experience at a conference where
Yeah,
you were like,
it's not even just the fear of like the mania. It's like I was
well,
so like at this moment of like high off this person of just like I
mm-hmm.
need to feel them, I need to touch them, I have to. It was like a drug.
Whereas
And
polyamorous relationship, you could have texted up your partner and been like, "Hey, so I kind of want to have fun at this conference," like, or
exactly,
an ethical non-monogamy situation, because you aren't necessarily going to be in love with this person, or like,
exactly, shit.
but
And it's
you're like, I want to fool around at this conference, or I'm vibing with this person a lot, and I really want to fool around with them. I just wanted to let you know, kind of thing, I guess, and then.
yeah,
You have a talk about it and be like, all right,
like
set your boundaries or wherever they are,
yeah. And
right?
like this was the experience that made me be like, okay, I can't really deny this, like this part of me that just like I'm just not monogamous.
Yeah.
Like I can't really deny this part. Like that was the awakening for me because I'm so high off this feeling like from this person. And I think like
Mm-hmm.
there was like a huge bar fight, and I didn't even realize that there was an enormous bar fight that broke out in front of me because I'm so high off of this individual.
I feel that yesterday I saw a big strawberry that was like the size of my fist and also looked like it had knuckles like my fist. And there was an actual full armored fight happening in front of me. I'm talking about there was ground and pound, and I was like, y'all, look at this strawberry though.
I
So,
love
like, obviously it's the same.
it. It is the same. It's the exact same, and nothing has ever been more same in this world.
Honestly, same.
But yeah, and it was just like that feeling
so,
of like what,
so
and
the
then like
question, so the question I had for you,
yeah,
because I'm gonna forget otherwise, was because okay, that was your awakening moment or whatever, but there were a lot of things leading up to that awakening moment in your life, right?
yeah,
Um, because you were worried about like, oh, this non-binary person that I like. I'm saying non-binary person because I don't want it to get
yeah,
confused with everybody else.
yeah,
So possible third person, introduced into your poly circle, polycule, whatever.
yeah.
Um, you were worried about it being mania, but also you have to consider like what things was the other person you're dating doing and saying to make you feel concerned about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because usually, typically, I want to say, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say,
And that is not
typically,
to, I just want to for a second, that is not to say that I could only be attracted to a non binary person if I'm in a manic state. That
oh,
is false. And
I
I
don't,
just want to say that. I know
okay,
you're not saying that. I just want to clarify
okay,
with that.
it's okay. This isn't
We,
for my Facebook, so,
I just want
anyways,
people to know I don't have anything, I don't need to be in a
I'm,
special
you're,
state.
no,
Yeah.
that's not what anyone's saying.
But
I
yeah.
don't think you were, yeah, so, anyways, I forgot what I was saying. Give
I'm
me a second.
sorry.
Let me, one potato, two potato, three potato, four. Dancing on the floor. I don't know what the fuck I was saying.
What was your
That.
partner saying to make you
Oh
feel?
yeah. So typically, uh, polyamorous people aren't that nerve wracked over like seeing another person, especially if their partners are fairly new. You know, it's
Mhm.
I could see it being nerve wracking if you've been with the same partner for a while, and while y'all have technically been poly, y'all haven't really been seeing new people.
Mhm.
I could see that situation being nerve wracking, but generally speaking, when it comes to poly people, it's just like a very casual, like, hey, I'm feeling this way about this person, and I've been talking with them and flirting with them, and I want to take it further. Like, usually it's not that big of a deal, but do you think maybe because your partner was acting in jealous ways and projecting on you that you were feeling
Yeah, like I think
self doubt?
yeah, I was feeling that because I knew like I could get the energy that both of them, even though they were like, yeah, like I'm aware of all this stuff, and like, and one of them was like, I'm like a veteran polyamorous person, you know, they like the discomfort from them,
One of
with
them straight
certain,
up super disliked the other. The other one didn't take the other one seriously at all. It was like,
yeah,
I'm gonna be the last man standing.
yeah, and I
Which
also,
both very that's negative fucking energy.
yeah, I'm like,
Y'all.
y'all making this a thing that it didn't
Whereas it
have to
was
be a
kind of
thing,
your was it your first foray into it? Yeah.
yeah,
And you were approaching with a very open mind and communicating so much better than most people do in their first foray, probably cuz you had a lot of that cultural experience growing up too, that you had a lot of communication normalized to you where a lot of people have basic relationship communication shamed.
yeah, and it's like also having because like my sister did a lot of like ethnographic study of like swinger communities,
Mm-hmm.
which that's not necessarily the same thing as polyamory, but
But it is a form of
it's
ethical
yeah,
non-monogamy.
it's a form of ethical non-monogamy that like hearing about like how people talk about it or the things that went wrong and like why they went wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and also just being I'm someone who in like relationships are like a very vulnerable space for me, but I'm not afraid of like being in a vulnerable space.
Yeah.
Um, and it's
Especially if you choose the person. Yeah.
exactly, and so I like to talk about my feelings and emotions because I feel like if I don't, I'll be resentful, and I don't want to be resentful. So I have to just immediately just like once I figure out what it is that I'm feeling, then I lay it out because I
Mm-hmm.
need to figure out am like okay, the conflict, there's a conflict right now, is it my insecurity or is there something that you said that truly hurt me,
Mm-hmm.
and I need to figure that out first because if it's an insecurity and I like go at you as like you hurt me when it's really just an insecurity,
Mm-hmm.
that's not fruitful.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's like you said something that to hurt me and I'm thinking I'm just insecure, I can't properly talk to you about that. So I have
Well,
to
and
figure
I think
out.
there's an in between that could happen where it's like, hey, I'm not sure right now if it's me, an insecurity that's coming from a deep place, or if this was something that like you had me fucked up.
Yeah, and it's like
With, you know.
I just personally for me I like to figure out like okay
Yeah.
where am I at like
Yeah. Self awareness.
generally like
We
self
love to see self
yeah,
awareness.
be self aware. Where am I at generally with this?
We
And
love a self aware king. You know.
yeah. But
I forgot to put a watermelon in the bottom of my tea. Continue.
that's funny. But no, it's very interesting to think about like feeling those like feelings that were projected onto me like by my feeling those feelings
Mm-hmm.
projected onto me like by my partners or like their insecurities and really like fearing the way that like if my emotion for like this third person like I feel like this is really going to upset them and I'm like well that's me
But why? Because
bringing
that's just
toxic
probably yeah.
monogamy into this like I'm
You're
being
feeling
monogamous with two people. That's silly. Um, but it was that feeling of like
inheriting this like societal shame,
yeah,
and you're like, oh, I'm doing a bad thing, and it's like, no, literally, this is.
like this is normal. But it was also like realizing like that this is a space where if the two partners I have are not getting along,
Mm-hmm.
I can't put a third person through this shit.
I guess so, but also
But
this
it's
third
also
person is like far away, so
yeah.
it's they're less likely to be affected by. the negativity. But maybe
That's
that's
true.
naive
But it's
of
also
me, you know?
because like I have to sit there listening to this other partner shit on two of my partners.
And so this is where a lot of people would say, well, why, it's like, well, why couldn't the person who's upset about you having ex partner just tell you to break up with them? Or it's like, I don't like this person. You have to break up with them. Because that's a thing
Yeah.
that pops up. A lot of polyamorous people don't jive with that because
I don't.
they kind of call it like
I
abusive
don't like it.
and say like, yeah, because you can't really dictate like if you're going to be in that space, you can't exactly be like, well, I control,
Yeah. Which is what sometimes it felt like.
Some people, yeah, veto power. That's what people call it, having veto power over
Yeah.
partners, and that puts everybody's relationships in a very precarious space, and then can prevent new relationships from even happening. Because if I was dating somebody whose partner had veto power and was very temperamental, I don't like the insecurity of that. I don't like being in an unstable situation, even if it's more casual, like having that ripped out from under me would still feel horrible.
I hate that. I hate the potential for that feeling. And it was one of those things where it's like we then got into a situation where I felt like both partners sort of thought that they were the primary partner when I kind of established that I didn't want that. Do you want to say what primary is for the folks since you vocab dude?
Shit. I mean, I feel like I don't know, maybe, I don't really know how to define this one. Because
my bottom bitch.
it sounds like a partner ranking thing, which is usually frowned upon. But
Yeah.
it's more so just like the person you spend the most time with and are willing to acclimate like life goals together, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So typically, if you have a primary partner, most of the time, not all the time, they will become your nesting partner eventually. Mm-hmm. And nesting partner, that's another term where you're just living with that partner, kind of thing. Which, can kind of... Some people have problems with the term primary partner, but it's a term for a reason.
It's a controversy.
Yeah. It's not super controversial, I don't think, but some people call themselves relationship anarchists. And I have some feelings about people who call themselves relationship anarchists because a lot of them are just like white dudes. Like, no offense to like white dudes or anything, but
all offense to white dudes. I'm kidding.
But a lot of times, like, relationship anarchists come into things with just like I can't be held responsible for my actions because fuck the rules.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very it was very interesting to have two people who were kind of like taking on this role of like...
Meanwhile, you told them, I'm not really trying to seriously... you weren't seeing necessarily either of them as primary, what primary means to a lot of people, because primary partner is like, you better stop.
That's my alarm being like, you have work soon.
Shit, that like threw me off. Give me a second. What was I even saying?
The primary in terms of
Oh, right. So like sometimes primary could even mean like, this is a person I am going to like marry. Sometimes it could mean that. Sometimes it mean I'm gonna buy a house with this person, or I'm gonna buy property or land with this person, or you're building something with that person, kind of thing. And typically speaking, if you're closeted polyamorous, this is the person that gets to go to family gatherings with you.
Yeah.
This is the person that is the poster child of, I'm in a relationship. Normal TM relationship with this person.
Exactly. And like
which can be damaging for the other partners if they don't agree to it.
Exactly. And like that's kind of where...
And that was not your bag. You weren't in a
wasn't.
space because you had just gotten out of a year-long monogamous relationship where you were ready to marry, and that was like monogamous primary, right? So that was on some like heavy, intense shit.
Yeah,
And you made clear to them, and they were both having a pissing contest.
yeah, and I'm like, shit. And it was so weird because they were like, well, it's just the two of us, and like, who's the more important? And I'm like, I'm sitting here where I'm like, I literally have another person who I have a very deep connection with. I have other people who I have deep connections with, but I have a person who I have a very deep connection with, who I feel a lot of familiarity with, and I kind of want to pursue that. And
Mm-hmm.
you guys are overwhelming me with this bullshit of this pissing match. And it was also like, neither one of you.
Because you're making it so it sounds like all of it was entirely negative, and that's not true because you wouldn't be with those
Yeah,
people
I really cared
if it
about the
was
both of them.
if it was only just to clarify, because I know a lot of people I just would have broken up with them. You don't know this full story,
Yeah,
so it's like
they really,
because they were in your life for a bit before you decided to
yeah.
partner with either
And
of them.
I had so much love
You
for the
had deep
both of them.
friendships with the both of them.
Yeah, and it's like they both kind of like gave me something very unique and very different,
Mm-hmm.
but something that was very special to me. And it's not to say that like polyamory is a horrible experience, and maybe we should do a follow up podcast about the positives of polyamory
Yeah,
because there are so many.
correct.
But like just like the whole toxic side of like this bickering and this fighting and like this like pissing match, because I had already decided in my head that like neither one of them were going to meet my family until I felt secure with both of those relationships. And I felt
Mm-hmm.
like it was unfair
You
to
aren't giving me primary energy right now. And like, I don't know if I'm gonna like risk it all
yeah.
for like.
Because it was like my mom knows that I'm bi.
Okay.
She's not cool with it, but she knows. She's still talking to me, so that's something.
Yeah.
But like, I didn't want to introduce like a dude to my family and then like not be able to introduce like a woman to my family. Like it just didn't feel right because
Yeah,
I'm
it
like
didn't
you're
sit
both
right
my
with your spirit.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like this doesn't jive well with me. And I was
Yeah.
like to be in this situation like
Because it seems like it would come off to you personally. Because you have a very good sense of, in my opinion, you have a very good sense of fairness
thank you.
and equality with people, and with the way that you live your life, it wasn't jiving with your personal. This is from my understanding, wasn't jiving with your personal uh, morality in the way that you conducted your life in terms of like, well, then if I did that, it would seem as though I am valuing male attention or like the appearance of being hetero
Yeah.
over being in a queer relationship.
Exactly. And that was the thing like she lectured me about constantly. And I'm like, well, that's not where I
That's
am.
not your bag, anyways.
But I'm going to take that
Projection.
into consideration because I was like, that's what I was getting from her. Because it was
Yeah.
like, I would get stood up for like the male partner. And
Often.
then, like, often. And then, like, plans would constantly be canceled with me. But it
And
never
you were never given her off days. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
she was always on call when y'all were together.
Yeah, I like
correct?
never.
Can I say that?
Pretty much.
Okay.
And then she added another partner and like didn't tell me about it. So I found out from like her posting about
Finding about so here. Listen, I'm not gonna tell you how to run your life or whatever, but like, you got me several shades of fucked up if I'm gonna find out about you being in a relationship with another person through a Facebook comments section. Miss me with that shit.
yeah.
Entirely.
Yeah, it's like when you
I
see someone
cannot believe
bragging
that.
about how
If
great
I was
their
your
girlfriend is, and you're and
That
after
is
spending so much
hurtful.
time,
That is
how they had a great time with their girlfriend over the weekend, and their girlfriend and their boyfriend over the weekend.
Thought she was talking about you.
I thought I was like, I wasn't there over the weekend doing the activities for which you described. I was like, pussy, were we having a threesome? We were not. What? So I had to be like,
Yeah.
no.
So I mean,
And then
you kind of just So it's like, so other partner was like, I had an amazing time, like basically talking about having a threesome with her wonderful boyfriend and girlfriend, and it was like, wait, hold up, what?
I was like,
Just because you're poly does not mean that shit is okay whatsoever.
so it
That is
was.
crossing, especially because of the specific dynamic that you'll set up, where it's like, tell me if you add someone else,
Exactly. I'm like, okay, so this is the second time you've done this.
because that involves your bodily autonomy too.
Yeah, and I
Because
was
it's like,
like,
have these people been tested? Um,
yeah,
are you having protected sex? Is that something that we want from each other? Are we getting? Is everyone getting tested regularly, kind of
yeah.
thing? And I can tell you from like at least the man is not tested and won't get tested. So just because that was my previous partner, let me tell you that was a battle. So
A fear. No,
one
but like,
fear.
and I mean, this isn't to like shame anybody, but I mean, like, this is
No.
the mess that things can create when you have like secrets and you're not like honest, and it's just like it's so rough to just find out from like a Facebook comment, because there are people to this day who think that I was the girlfriend that they were talking about, and so now.
So it also so not only did it make you feel like shit because one, she was going on and on about how wonderful her girlfriend was, and you were getting this feeling of elation, being like, "Oh, I'm appreciated and loved," and like,
No, it wasn't even
okay,
that, because like I
okay, so
immediately realized she wasn't talking about me from the context.
that's fucked up. That's so sad.
Because it was in the context of like her hanging out with her boyfriend and her girlfriend. I was like, "Oh, you didn't answer my messages all weekend, and you told me you were at work." I
Whoa!
was told that
Whoa!
you were at work. I didn't know that you were.
Holy shit! That's a whole new level of fucked
Yeah,
up.
and so
So okay, so not only are you finding out in the comment section, but also kind of like running your name through the fucking mud, like low key, because like airing out dirty laundry that isn't even yours, but everyone thinks it's yours.
yeah, and I'm like, okay, people are gonna think that I fucked this dude, and I
They
don't want
got
people
some
to think that
nasty, shitty panties out on a line, and it says Liz on it, but they don't actually
like,
belong to
it's
you.
not mine. And
I
so
swear to God, that's not mine. Well, she says she with you, so
I'm like, holy fucking shit, this is stupid. I was like, I was so like,
maybe that was a terrible metaphor,
no, like,
but
it's really, I'm like, man,
this a lot.
this a lot. And so, I, this is the
And
moment
that's
where people
putting
are
it very
like,
fucking
yeah,
lightly.
this is the moment where people are like, should have just broke up, should have just broke up. That should have been the end. And I'm like,
Should have been.
but no, like, it gets to the point where it's like,
If we had monetization, we would be demonetized.
we would have been demonetized so long ago. But then you're like, let me take out a fucking knife.
Whatever. Let me add
It's
to it.
not
Some
bad
flavor.
if it's colorful.
Yeah. We're colorful. so you found out through that, and did this? So this person was trying to like low key gaslight you and be like, "Oh well, I have experience
Yeah.
with the poly world and with the poly blah 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 blah." Blah. Meanwhile, it's your first foray, and you're picking up on some severe bullshit.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Them's fighting actions.
I'm like,
Honestly,
this
for
doesn't
most
feel
people,
right to
that's
me.
fighting actions.
So I literally, instead of just being
Even
like angry
non-monogamous.
girlfriend, like, bitch, how fucking dare you, da 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 da, I was like, hey,
Let's
are
check
you?
in.
I was like, hey, are you? Is this person your girlfriend now? Like, and I didn't just get a, oh yeah, like I wanted to talk to you. Like everything just sort of happened so fast. I wanted to talk to you about it. It was like, well, because then it was kind of insinuated that they were a throuple, which is a whole new like dynamic to throw in when you have like a partner over here, but you're like throupling with some people over there. As like a whole new dynamic.
Yeah.
And so I was like, hey, is that what is going on? And she was just kind of like, well, we're just, we're still trying to maintain like ourselves as like individuals. And I'm like, and not.
What
And
does
now what
that,
I
what does
asked
that
you,
mean?
like I asked you,
She gave you a weird political answer.
I'm like, is this Parliament? Why are you being so diplomatic? Like, is this a yes or no? And I'm like, dude, you like fucking hated her like 3 days ago, and were crying to me about like how their relationship opened up so much trauma for you, and so I'm like, you're allowed to have things change, but I just like,
Something's fishy.
Like whiplash.
Again, your bullshit sensors were going off.
Yeah, it's like
your bullshit detectors were going woo.
Is like 2 days ago you like came home crying about how horrible everything was and having a panic attack and like.
And so she was putting the emotional load on you.
Yeah.
She was using you as an emotional cum sock.
Pretty much. And
like, sorry to, like, I think I brought up cum sock in a previous podcast I recorded. Yes, I did. Like,
okay.
literally 2 days ago with my housemate.
Okay.
Made a podcast and I said cum sock.
Yeah.
Don't treat people like a cum sock unless that's something y'all agreed to. But like,
it's like I'm not even like bitter about
really,
it.
She
this
really
point.
treated you like an emotional cum sock. So I'm gonna go with this.
Exactly. And I mean the reason why I can even share this is because like it's funny to me now. Like I'm not like, it's not to say like bad things are okay, but I'm like I'm in a good place with it and that's why I'm able to talk about it. If I weren't, like I wouldn't talk about it.
Right.
But it's just like just the level of like, bro, I found out from
Ilya said it's a visceral and apt metaphor.
Thank you, Elias.
Thank you.
But no, like it's a lot. It's a lot to just find out about your relationship
and
with someone else and like the status of that from a Facebook status.
Yeah, and so again, because we want to talk about also not only just our own experiences, but like the general, like a general thing that happens a lot.
Mm-hmm. Please do.
Just things on like a cultural scale sometimes, and it's like, again, these people are in these communities and they use their supposed quote unquote wisdom, right,
Mm-hmm.
to have leverage over you and to be like, well, no, these are things you don't understand, and like be totally condescending, right, towards you and your experience and your feelings. And was there even an apology?
No.
That's wild. She would have got, like, no offense, domestic abuse is never okay, but she would have gotten her ass whooped. But like, if it was somebody else.
Literally
100%.
anyone I've ever told about this has been like, girl, I would beat her ass. I'm like, no!
Okay.
No.
Listen. No.
No. I would never. That's not where I am. That's not who I am.
Yeah.
The thing that really caused it to truly end was like me not feeling valued, but also the very obviousness of like coming from her other partners telling her, it's not your responsibility to make her feel like valued or like desired or like that's not your responsibility.
Like, so her partners were telling her they were, oh, that's not your responsibility that she feels bad.
Because it's like whenever we'd have a problem
to an extent, yes, but abusive, manipulative people take that, because I will say, like, no one is responsible for your happiness, no one is responsible for your confidence, yada yada.
Yeah.
But in the abusive relationships that I've been in, they love that.
They do.
They love
it's nuance.
So they take it to the umpteenth degree where it's like, well, yeah, I like, you know, yeah, I fucked your mom, and like, yeah, I was like, but I'm not responsible for you feeling bad about that.
Like,
or
even in like a less extreme.
Yeah, I know. I'm being extremist.
No,
about
like
it for
no,
sure,
I love it.
I'm lacking nuance here.
I love it.
Yeah.
But like even in the thing of like, it's very common for like your partner to be like, I feel fat. You know,
or it's like I feel undesired.
I feel fat. Like I feel like you don't want me. Like that's an insecurity that's
reassurance
inside of you, and it's like your partner really can't take that away from you. However, your partner's actions
about that
toward you can be like very negligible.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you can't control how I feel, but you can control like your behavior towards me, especially if it's shitty.
And you can also contribute to some bad shit. Maybe just don't.
Yeah.
Like maybe just don't. Like maybe just don't contribute to insecurities that your partner like have.
I'm like, so, when you always stand me up, and then you're gonna tell me like, well, it's not my responsibility to make you feel desired. I'm like, Okay,
But
but
you're
like you can
also
just not stand me up all the time, or just like
it's also but your actions are showing me that you are actively not valuing my time and
exactly.
my energy and the fact that I've cleared my schedule for you and now I'm just sitting here alone.
Yeah, because
That's
it's
hurtful.
exactly because it's like you're saying that I'm not being respectful of your work. I've never said anything wrong with your job, but I'm also like I work 3 jobs, and
I don't know what this means. In a purely idealistic sense, put those paws up.
Billy, this is so funny. Like, let's fight.
Oh,
That's what he means.
that's
No,
cute.
it's just like you really do have to be like let's bring it back. Like in any relationship, monogamous, polyamorous, any sort of relationship, you do have to put in the effort of like feeding into that relationship and like putting into that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Relationships fall apart when we don't feed it. Like if you have a plant,
Yeah.
like it needs to be in a certain environment for it to flourish. It needs to have a
Especially
certain amount
when
of
you've
attention,
been like,
water,
hey,
da da
this
da.
is, and you're pretty clear. You're like, this is what I seek in a relationship of any kind. Like,
Yeah. And I'm like, I'm overly specific about my needs sometimes.
yeah.
But I'm
But
like,
I mean, I would kind of sometimes prefer that to a certain degree over someone being extremely vague and making it my problem.
yeah.
Like, I feel like that's much less cool to do.
Yeah. And it's just like it's weird because I'm like now I'm sitting here in a relationship feeling like resentful towards 2 people and I don't like it and I'm feeling like because of their actions and behavior I can't pursue things with other people and I'm like
It's like what my friend Blade said, and I think about this a lot, and it's really helped me through some specific times.
mm-hmm.
And it's maybe oversimplified, but it's genuinely helped me where it's if I'm not having a good time and you're not having a good time and people aren't doing things about it, then what the fuck are we doing here? Then what the fuck are we doing?
Which is what led to the end.
What the fuck are we doing here? Because that doesn't make any like that is
It doesn't.
that's purely nonsensical. And I know it's like very simply boiled down, but like
Sometimes you have to. When things are so complex, sometimes you got to be
when
like,
they
this
feel
is the
so
simple thing.
big and immense, sometimes it is good to like simplify it. Where because I would talk to him about some stuff, and he was just like, "Listen, if like this person feel resentful, you're feeling resentful, and like no, nothing's fucking changing. Literally, what the fuck are you doing? You're supposed to be having a good time."
Yeah.
Now, hard times do happen, but it's like, if you're just consistently having a bad fucking time.
Okay, what do doctors say? If your erection persists, see a doctor.
See a doctor.
If it just
Sorry.
stays
I don't know
hard,
why I did that, but
see a doctor.
I don't know.
You're just like, sure about your fucking health, or I'll make sure you
Me as a friend.
loves it.
Threatens my friends into taking care of themselves.
But no, it's like if it's always hard, you gotta address this. Your erection is not supposed to persist for 18 hours.
Because it's going to come to a head in a really nasty way. I wasn't talking about the erection, but yeah, thanks a lot, Liz.
I'm 5.
Fuck you.
I'm sorry.
Go to hell. Whatever. Suck this podcast.
Suck this podcast. Is that where we want to leave it? We could just.
Yeah. Is there any other points you wanted to bring up about it?
I did, but I need to shut up. I don't know.
Okay.
I felt like that was a really great place to end it. You know what? Suck this podcast.
Okay.
I felt right.
Oh, a lot. Oh shit! Tex said something. A lot of stuff being said in this podcast that speaks to me on poisonal levels. Okay. Tex. I guess. So there's a couple things that I wanted. We can cut it out if we don't want it or whatever. But there are some things that I wanted to talk about if that's cool.
Please do.
I guess some of my experiences where self-care by any means necessary. Oh my gosh, thank you, Ilias.
Self-care or self-scare? Okay.
That's perfect. Thank you. I love that actually. um,
I'm gonna let you keep talking. I need to sign in to work.
oh, go on.
Be right back.
So, anyways, so I've had some situations where a partner has peer pressured me into certain situations that I don't necessarily want to be in because of them claiming to basically like, well, again, it's like a, well, I know more than you about this kind of thing or whatever, but it's like, I've even had a situation where I had more knowledge and know-how and experience than the other person when it came to, like, I guess, maybe only in an academic sense, right? Because I was always such like a sex nerd and stuff like that, that I knew poly people and I knew how they navigated their relationships, and then I was finally in a place where I was sorry about that. I was finally in a space where I was willing to explore that, and then this other person was, willing to join me in that, and then would just, I don't know, a lot of my toxic bad relationships have just been like, don't you want to be cool though? Like, it kind of boils down to that, where the other person has been like,
just like the
like,
cool kid on the school. Just smoke.
and it's like, this shit hasn't worked on me, right? Like, I haven't like done a drug until I turned like age 25 out of spite, and also I just didn't want to. I wasn't ready for it, and I didn't want to be pressured into anything.
Yeah.
When I did it, it was actually my choice.
Good.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
So I feel very proud of that and good about that. But a lot of these weird controlling behaviors just come from a place of like, you're kind of not being cool right now. Which is so both the people we're talking about.
And we don't do these podcasts just to shit on them, but it's just
no, but it's
we're gonna capitalize off of our personal experiences. God damn it, suck this podcast. Please continue.
yeah. So I don't know. A lot of, and especially a lot of, so that's another reason why it's difficult that poly is becoming mainstream, because a lot of straight cis men, what they'll do is they pressure these monogamous women into situations that they don't want to be in, because it's the whole like, come on, babe, lighten up. Are those fucking triggering words? It's just terrible. It's just like, oh, like, don't you, like, it's, I mean, like, there's always this pressure, and like, I don't necessarily identify super much with womanhood anymore. I still have grown up very femininely raised, to a sense. I also grew up with toxic, like, masculinity, but that's a whole other conversation. But like, you know, I am seen most of the time as a woman. Um, and in relationships I'm pressured much like a woman too, which sucks. Not only does it suck from a being abused type of way, but oh man, there's dysphoria on top of this, which is bullshit. Um, Peer pressure is bad, guys. Just don't do it.
Do it.
But so while these big cultural movements and acceptances of different lifestyles are good, a lot it's encouraging some toxic underbelly things that we have in our society, where a lot of men do cheat on women. And I mean, a lot of people cheat on each other in general.
Yeah.
And so I guess we can talk about maybe like why people cheat and stuff. And like sometimes people really like the risk, which is fucked up, but it is a thing. Sometimes people just fucking cheat for the vine. Do it for the vine. But it's like
infidelity for the vine.
It's like those like fucked up like risk seeking behaviors type thing.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh well, it didn't matter. Basically, whenever somebody cheats on someone else, they're not thinking about the other person,
Yeah.
or if they are, they're using it as a way to get off. which is kind of really fucked up.
Because I mean, like, the reason why especially with the experience I talked about at the conference, the reason why I didn't cheat on my partner, because it was at a point where they were like about to walk me to my hotel room, and it was like kind of under the
Yeah.
like guys are like, oh, just want to make sure you get there safe. I was like, no, I got it, it's fine. But like I played up how drunk I was because I realized how damaging this could be. So I was like, well, he won't try to have sex with me if I'm just like terribly wasted, right? So luckily he
Okay.
I was like
You were
we
gambling
depended
on
on
that
the
one.
kindness of strangers.
I was like, you were gambling on that one, bro.
I was like, I hope he decent, and he was. So thank God for that.
Thank God.
So
Okay.
uh, but yeah, like it was awkward. But the reason why I didn't do it is because I was like, in my manic state, I'm like, there are no consequences. There are no consequences.
I can't be held responsible for my actions.
Exactly.
held responsible
So
for my
it's like there's like nothing is gonna happen. Like, how are they gonna find out? But
it always
who's
comes
gonna know?
around. It always
They're
comes
gonna
around.
know.
That's
Who's
something
gonna
that I
know?
did say to my partner. I was like, I will always find out.
And so
Like I was like, you better just fucking tell me, because like I think I put the fear of fucking God in. He dead ass did not lie to me after that. Like I think out of fear, which is not a great thing, by the way. Like you should also just
not the best tactic.
not want to lie to
Undeniably
me.
a tactic.
Not want to lie to me because you don't want to lie to me. Like
Exactly.
because you don't want to hurt me, because you actually care about me.
Yeah.
Not out of like, shit, this person is a fucking witch. Like or like this person is like a super, because I will though. Like, because I know everybody, bitch. I know, like, oh well, I saw him at the club with. Interesting. And it's like, oh well, I thought y'all knew because you're open. Thank you for the information.
Or maybe they're dumb enough to just post it on Facebook fucking casually in the comments.
In
like,
the fucking comment section.
as
Oh my
if
god.
the algorithm ain't gonna just show me that shit. Didn't even have to go to the page. The algorithm was like, hey, you wanna know some juicy tea shit? I was like, Facebook, you messy as fuck. Thank you though.
Thank you though. Like, it's just like, okay, I don't know. I feel like the truth always finds a way.
Yeah.
The truth
like,
always finds a way out.
But manic me don't know that. The only reason that stopped me in that moment was like, okay, well, if there's no consequences to doing it, then there's no consequences to not doing it, right? So,
which is a weird
which
logic.
was like, I fucking weird manic logic kicked in. Because the thing is, like, I still have empathy when I'm manic.
Okay, that's good.
That's
good
only.
to know.
That's my only saving grace.
Okay, good. Good to know.
It's still empathetic, and I was
Writes
like,
notes for future.
yeah.
Has empathy when manic. Okay.
So I'm like, but like they're gonna be. I'm like, I'm gonna know, and like, what if I feel bad because I know that I hurt them? Because like, obviously I care about them, but like, if we were poly, just wouldn't be at the end. I'm like, but you're not, and you're not about to fucking discuss this. And
yeah, polyamory does not mean like fucking. What's the word? It doesn't mean it's the wild, wild west.
Exactly, and I'm like,
you are not Will Smith, and this is not the wild, wild west, motherfucker.
Because even if I like texted my partner and was
that's
like,
a Twitter caption right there too.
Because like, even if my partner at the time was like, even if we were poly, and I messaged him like, yo, like I met this person, like I'm really feeling a connection with them, like at this conference, like is it cool if I,
yeah,
they can still be like, dude, you literally were supposed to be gone for business, and now you're like worrying about fucking somebody. Like, what the fuck? Then it becomes a whole thing. Well, and it's like,
and it's so a lot of poly people don't even believe in the whole like asking for permission thing. It's more so just like, hey, I'm letting you know that this is a thing. Like, I want you to be aware of it before it happens.
Yeah, like I mean, like,
yeah,
just in letting them know, them just responding, being like, this is supposed to be some job shit, and now you telling me you want to like, what the fuck?
I don't think so.
Like, I felt like that could happen.
I guess it could, yeah.
Because it's like, I feel like with them that would definitely happen. Because we
on
had
some jealousy shit.
Yeah, because we had spoken about
jealousy still happens within polyamory.
Like seeing women, but their whole thing was like, they wanted to be there when that was happening, and I was like, I don't want
so it's
that.
for your so it's only cool if it's for your consumption. Got it.
And I'm like, I don't really like that, and I also don't like the fact that like, you're potentially cool with me seeing women because I feel like it just means you don't value the relationships that I could form with women. Because if
Yeah.
you valued them, you'd also be like, okay, well, like men are cool too.
Yeah, or you would feel just as threatened by relationship with a woman.
Exactly. So
I've had listen. I had a lesbian friend who was stealing people's girlfriends left and right. Okay, not not her fault. She could eat it better than you. I don't know what the. Hey.
But no, like I mean, the reason why I didn't is like the empathy kicked in, and I was
Oh,
like, I shouldn't.
this is a
cheat.
oh my god! I remember the big thing
Yes,
that I wanted
please.
to talk about. Oh my god! It just fucking it, bop, came to me in my soul. Okay, sorry.
No, please.
Cause so I've been cheated on twice or like 3 times. No, twice. No, 3 times. In the terms of like someone lying about us being open, or lying about the degree of openness of our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, I feel weird with the normalization of it of, oh, well, he told me he's poly, so it's fine. And it kind of absolves responsibility on both parties, where it's like, oh, la, 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 I don't get to know. Like, and sometimes you really do have to take people at their word and be like, especially if it's a don't ask, don't tell type poly person, then you're actively disrespecting those boundaries, even if you don't like that.
Complexities.
Exactly. Um, so, like, I have a weird hesitancy about, like, a guy being like, no, it's okay, I'm poly, but it shows that they're in a relationship on their profile, and I don't see them sharing, like, poly memes or anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, because those are things I can look out for where it's like, okay, like, I can kind of see, even though it shows them in a relationship with X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. Like that joke of, like, does your girlfriend know you're poly?
Yeah, does your girl... Yes. Because that's becoming a common problem now, where it's just like, it's the new lie that's being perpetuated by toxic fucking people.
Exactly.
And so, God, I'm so bad at words, even though we make a podcast together. Good Lord.
You are loved.
Thank you. I'm trying. Am I... Am I smart?
Yeah, you're smart.
Am I important?
You're important. You was kind.
Am I kind? Oh god. Oh my god. So stupid. But so there are some things to where I'm like, or are they secretly in some like closed Facebook groups where it's like they're in like a kink group or they're in like a swingers group where it's like, okay, like I know that they're generally open, because not everybody wants to have in a open relationship with, because it has a nasty connotation. It has like a
my nana's here.
it has like, unfortunately, it has like this bad connotation, and open relationship kind of has this whole wild wild west connotation to it, and not all poly people feel cool with that.
Yeah.
So I could see why maybe someone's Facebook says in a relationship type thing.
Because I mean, even with like,
and not I could see why someone wouldn't want to choose like putting in an open relationship, because poly doesn't necessarily mean open.
Yeah. Because also, like, I think it's like known at this point that I have two profiles. One's like my more professional one, and one's like my me.
Yeah.
And on my professional profile, I don't put anything about relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And because it's also like, I just don't want the people I work with to know my life.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't mean I'm ashamed of you. I just need them to like get up out of my shit.
So like, yeah, not everybody's gonna be super public with this, and again, they might be closeted poly, but like, I generally feel more comfortable when I'm a kitchen table type poly person, so I feel more comfortable if I'm able to have.
Not all poly people are compatible and share the same exact beliefs.
Yes, exactly. So I like to be able to chill and like shoot the shit with my metamor or with a fellow partner, because it makes me feel from my past of being abandoned and being cheated on and being like lied to a lot and being gaslit. That is what I need. Like,
yeah, I'm like, bitch, I want to have Friendsgiving. Like, what's up?
Yes,
more giving.
Exactly. I can't deal with all this like cloak and dagger type bullshit. I like that in video games. I don't like that in my romantic relationships unless we're role playing. What's up? Um, hey. um, this is just inventing new words. It's valid. Wait, what? What words did I say? What words did I say? Fuck you. I said real words. I have words.
Ilias, we don't have to entertain you because you're in a different time zone, which means you don't even exist during this conversation.
Wow, you're right.
Like, you're...
You don't exist right now.
Yeah, like, you're ahead of us in the time zone, which means that you're basically...
Not even real.
You're, like, stuck in the past, and I think you need to...
You're so 2000 and late, and we're so 2000 and great.
We got that boom boom pow.
Yeah.
And what do you have?
That boom boom pow.
I'm sorry, we love you. You're my best friend.
Oh my god.
When I get like super drunk, I call Ilias and sing the Golden Girls theme song.
Thank you for being a friend.
Whoa, yeah. I do the whole thing.
Shit.
I love that. I love that vine.
Someone gave me that as my birthday card in junior high. Like literally wrote the whole Golden Girls theme song, but like put little pictures with it. It was very cute. I had it hanging on my wall forever. And they gave me a little paper mache sun. I hung it on my wall. It was very, very cute. Tex said, I'm in the future, actually. Well, I wasn't talking to you, Tex.
Tex, what are the lottery numbers, Tex? Tex. Please, Tex. You kind soul. Please. Tell us what's to come. No, I want to be surprised.
No, I have PTSD, so it depends on the surprise. You know, I don't want to punch anyone in the face. That's a whole other topic.
Sorry for punching you in the throat that one time, Ilias. It was
so it's becoming a very common thing for guys to easily cheat with people who are unsuspecting, who don't want to be the other woman, right? Other woman, I say in quotes, right? And this is very heteronormative of me and stuff like that, but it's like, who don't want to be the other person, right? Who don't want to be the secret person in a cheating situation, who would normally never do that, are now being entrapped in these entanglements. Yeah. Without
bringing me back to 2020. I see what you're saying. It's a lot.
So they're being trapped in these entanglements of like that they don't necessarily want to be in, who are normally very like good people, who are getting wrapped up in this shit because it's becoming a part of the common lexicon to just be like, well, I'm open, it's fine. Yeah. You don't have to ask my girlfriend about it. Whereas sometimes if a guy publicly has like, and I'm like, okay, well, can I talk to Elizabeth about this? Like,
exactly. I'm like, I want to be able to talk to your partner. We do not have to be the best of friends.
We don't have to be like this.
We don't owe each other that. You know, people are allowed.
We don't have to be touching dicks.
Yeah, but like I want to like talk to you and like
treat you as a fellow human being with respect.
You know, like we on the same team now. You know, like we are part of a support system
on the
together.
Positive Poly podcast, we can talk about how fun it is to have metamors that you have good relationships with.
There was a time when like I got along very well with my boyfriend-in-law.
So I can't accept this apology since it hasn't reached me yet in my time. Trifling. So, and also I feel some type of way to where like, we also have to realize that sometimes people are absolute fucking bananas. Like, I don't know how else to say it. We have to acknowledge the fact that, like, people have reactions that sometimes don't make sense, and I don't know if you've ever seen or, you know, gotten a true crime or not. But, people love killing a cheating partner, or they love killing, like, the other person.
Yeah, I'm like, don't kill me.
And so, like, and so it's like, I thought this was ethical, stabbed in the gut. Like,
Why?
so it's like
no, Bailey Sarian is like doing her makeup, talking about.
now yes, correct. Now Bailey Sarian's talking about me. Has a bad Facebook photo of me up, talking about my life story and shit. Talking about how I got stabbed and how.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was gonna go in a really dark spot, but I'm not gonna do that. But like, for instance, like a lot of people. So, even though cheating is a non-consensual action for one party, right? Because it goes against a certain agreement that two people had, or a certain amount of people had, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, the other person knows that that person A is cheating. And usually they can go into it being like, do I want to get into this entanglement or not? It's still a decision that the other person has to make. But now it's a situation where you're taking consent away from your unaware partner and from this new person.
Yeah.
You're not only so it's like double bad. Now this double bad thing is happening. Because cheating was already bad, but at least the other person had this informed consent, knowing, going in, being like,
yeah,
I could get caught, and the wife could go ballistic on me. Because some people, again, they love their partner. They don't have love for you.
Exactly.
So that's why, and while it doesn't make sense, emotionally speaking, it makes sense for people. It's like, I have love for my partner. We have children together. We have a life together. And you are destroying this. Does it make sense necessarily? No. But they can murder you for it.
And so it's not supposed to be logical. They're not logicking right now.
So sometimes people could get themselves in entanglement, have no idea, and then some guy comes out in a parking lot, wants to hit you with a baseball bat, and you ain't got no idea what's going on.
It's like those episodes of Cheaters. I don't know if you guys used to watch Cheaters back in the day. I used to love that shit. But like, you would have people. You know what it is? It's that show where people, just for the viewers, listeners, where like they would hire a private investigator to like catch their lover, spouse, boyfriend, whatever, cheating, and then they would like come and catch them in the act in public and be like, you fucking cheated on me. But there would be times where the person shows up to like be like, you cheated on me, fuck you, da 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 da, and they're like, this is my wife, and it's like, you're married? What the fuck? So, and then they find out, like, I'm the other woman. The person who's like, I think my partner is cheating, they're like, I'm the other woman.
Holy shit!
Like, they come there high and mighty, like, you fucking cheated on me, I see you with this bitch, I got you on camera, I saw this, da 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 da. And they're like, this is my wife. And they're like, excuse me?
That's fucked up on set. Oh, shit.
And there's moments where that's happened, and then there's moments where the wife knew that they were seeing this other person, but the other person didn't know that this person had a wife.
This is not ethical.
This is not ethical, not monogamy.
Y'all are being unethical as hell, and I do not condone murder for cheating. Like, I don't condone domestic violence.
I condone murder in other cases, though. You were like, for cheating.
I don't.
You were like, I don't.
Hey now.
I'm asking you to clarify.
Listen.
I'm asking you to clarify in case, like, Bailey has to research some shit, and she's like, on this one podcast, they said they condone murder.
Listen, I don't condone murder at all. Okay?
It's not a pro-murder podcast.
You can go to another podcast for that.
Yeah, you can.
There's tons of other podcasts for that. I'm sure of it. Do they get sponsored? I don't know. Probably by a coffee company or something, I feel. Anyway, sorry. Going off on a tangent. So, I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Regardless, it's not ethical non-monogamy, and so that's what it boils down to. Is like, stop being an unethical bitch. We're tired of it.
Yeah, learn your ethics. Watch Philosophy Tube and something, I don't know.
Have you ever watched Philosophy Tube? Maybe think about it. Maybe,
she a fierce ass bitch.
Maybe ContraPoints while you're at it.
Did you see, like, when she, like, uploaded the picture? She was like, bitch, I'm a bad bitch. What's up? Like, she was like, hey. You're the baddest British bitch you ever.
Oh, okay. The show with the worst professional camera equipment I've ever seen.
It's true.
I thought you were talking about our show, and I'm inclined to agree.
I think our camera, it's
better than Cheaters.
It's better
for
than
goddamn
Cheaters.
sure. That's why I didn't watch it. I was like, this does not aesthetically vibe with what I'm trying to watch.
I used to watch it, but also they used to show commercials for Girls Gone Wild in between like the
Gay
episode
ass. With your gay ass.
and how it.
Oh,
Yeah.
hi.
Well, hi.
Well, hi. Anyways, you know, um, yeah, we just have to be cognizant and more communicate more, and it's a fucking pain in the ass, but with the right people, it can be very much worth it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, we'll talk about we'll redeem
yeah,
polyamory in the next podcast.
yeah, we gotta show the shadow side
Yeah,
first.
we're doing our shadow work. There's some good benefits to
Yeah,
polyamory.
and that'll be for next time. But as for right
Yeah,
now, that's all
that's
the
all.
stupid shit we've been through,
So,
and the stupid shit that's going on in the world. And just look out for yourselves. Don't get murdered.
yeah, and if
Practice ethical non-monogamy. Read The Ethical Slut. What else?
knowledge your life.
There is also designer. There's a book called Designer Relationships. You could read that on a quick airplane ride. That's like a very small little book. That's about monogamous relationship communication, open relationship communication, and polyamorous communication. So there's a lot of different resources you can go to. There's a lot of different there's
We
no
can post
excuse.
a reading list.
Yeah,
on the
there's no
page.
excuse not to be educated about it. Help yourself, educate yourself. Don't be an unethical bitch.
Yeah,
and have a good night.
Yeah, and if
Or
you
day.
don't like it, then
You can
suck
this
this
podcast.
podcast. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
You can see the buttons.
Yeah, I can see